Here's a game. Innovec. D4. Let's try and get a Nimzo if we can. D4, C4. Okay, so far so good. And now, okay, well we can try going for a Benoni. And he doesn't even push the pawn. Sky. Okay. It's a very solid setup that white has here. It's a little it's probably better for white to push the pawn, but you know, then maybe black has some counter chances. We'll see. So I'm going to try and play it like a Nimzo, except my bishop is here instead of there. See if that works. He never pushed his knight up. Yeah, I should probably castle first before I do undertake any action in the center. Yeah, now he comes in with the knight. Can come to here. Can also support the push of the e-pawn with that knight, but I have time to get in the move e5 in any case. So can I play it here? e5, pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes. He's looking at this. He's got a discovered attack here, but my queen is defended. So I think I can play that. And that opens up a line for my bishop, and now we'll see what happens in the center. He can either push or take, or maybe he can try and hold the tension. He's actually defending the D or the e4 square. Sometimes there's a threat of pushing all the way to e4 and forking those two pieces, but he's got it covered with a bishop and a knight. So he could actually maintain the tension for a while. Let's see, would I take then? Say if he just developed his bishop, take. That might be an okay position too. But maybe I would keep the tension and just develop my bishop. Yeah, so he decides to push here. So now I have to find another square for my knight. Yeah, I guess it has to go all the way back. I didn't think this square over here looked that attractive. And maybe I want to get my bishop outside the pawn chain before developing the knight. Well, it's not in the pawn chain, but if I develop my knight to d7, it blocks in the bishop. And I don't know if the bishop has a lot to do on this side of the board. But he prevented bishop to g4. So what to do? I guess I will leave the bishop there for a while. Maybe bring the knight around via d7 to f8. The knight on f8 will protect the h7 square, so I don't even have to push that pawn forward. I can just defend it like this. And then we'll see where he goes with that knight. Maybe I will play h6 next to force the knight to go back. But if I don't play h6, I could play knight to g6 instead. And then I have two pawns defending the knight, so I can take with either the h or the f pawn. That might be good if he tries to chop it off with his bishop there. Still not clear how I'm getting my light squared bishop into this game. Yeah, the knight on g6 might be a target too. He's going to push on with h4 and h5 possibly. It's covered at the moment. Okay, so he brought in his light squared bishop to that square. Well, that allows me to develop my bishop and get rid of one of his attacking pieces. And I guess he's thinking that was a good trade for him because because that was my good bishop, right? It's a light squared bishop in this pawn structure, which is pawns are on dark squares, but it didn't really have a lot of squares it could go to. So I guess I'm not unhappy with that trade either. Yeah, so he goes there. Should I get rid of his queen? My queen is protected by the other knight. Even if he takes the knight, I can take back with the bishop. He can do that with check, and then he has to move the queen. He's got squares he can move it to. Just want to ask him where he wants to put that queen. Maybe I can kick it around some more, gain some tempos. Would have to go back to f3, I guess. Can it go to... he just takes. Okay, so here. So this should be pretty even. So I seem to have survived the survived the opening. You should probably trade knight and push his e-pawn, and then argue that his pawn structure is better than mine because of the bishop. He's got the dark squared bishop. But since he didn't do that, I will go ahead and push my pawns forward. Maybe I can stop him from playing e4 ever, and then it would be okay. Like I could put my bishop on f6, looking at this diagonal. Might be good. Okay, he's attacking my f-pawn. See, if I defend with a pawn, which is tempting, it leaves this h-pawn loose, and he could push immediately. So let's defend with the rook. You could push e4 with a discovered attack on the h-pawn, which could be annoying. But given a move or two, I could play king h7 and then g6, and then. But maybe my next move is just pawn to e4 if he doesn't play that himself. He does play pawn. Yeah, he didn't play pawn to e4, so he's going to push on the queen side. Let's go ahead and seal in that bishop. This also gives me a square on e5 for my knight. Aha, now if I play bishop to f6, can he take? I would take, yeah, he can move the knight with check and then take back. My king could come here. He could go there with check. My king goes there. Yes, I think I can just play bishop f6. So he defended with the knight. Okay, let's put my knight on a good square. See if he wants to trade. He does. Okay, so maybe he's going to have a good knight against a bad bishop, that kind of thing. Could be. So I'm going to how do I want to do this? If he takes and I take back with the pawn, I would take with the g pawn. That would open up the g file. He could lift the rook. And he could come to g7 or to g4. But I could bring my rook over. Let's see, he defends. I take. He takes. Yeah, it kind of leaves him with the rook on the 7th. So if I bring my rook over first, yeah, I can't do that. I don't have enough time because my g pawn would be hanging, so I don't have time to take back. So I got to do this. Let's see, 2 minutes to 2 minutes. Okay, we're both doing okay on the time so far. Yeah, he went all the way to B7. I thought he might. And yeah, it's just a good square for his rook. And I can't really get rid of it. Can't easily get rid of it. And it's hard to move my rook. Let's see, how can I do this? I could push the pawn first. Gives my rook a little more scope. And let's see if he's got a plan that he can come up with. A lot of weird stuff going on. Hope that doesn't mess up the recording. Looked like the server is loading some software there or something. Okay, so he's trying to figure out how to proceed from here. Yeah, he brings the knight in. So I don't really want to take the knight. And if he goes to this square on e6, though, maybe I have to take the knight. Because that square on e6, he would be coordinating on g2, g7 rather. Knight e6, hitting g7 with the rook and the knight. That would kind of keep things tied up here. Yeah, otherwise, after I trade, he takes back. Let's see, I could lift my rook here, huh? I don't know. Well, we'll see what this rook and pawn endgame is like. So I have a loose pawn on d6 and a loose one on a5. And those are the targets he can go after. So let's lift a rook up, defend those. Very, very passive position. So probably there's something that there is probably something that black can do in this situation, white can do in this situation to take advantage of my play. But I have ideas here. I can maybe get a passed pawn going. And I got my king into the game. He wasn't able to keep my king out of the game with his rook on the 7th rank, so that helps. He's going to walk over to that side of the board, okay? So his king went forward to there. Now it's going to step into b4 to a, b3 to a4 and walk in this way. So I have to stop that. So his king is shut out on this side. Yeah, my rook is holding the queen side together for the moment. You know, his rook can't really move that easily as well because if his rook moves sideways, I can play my rook to the b file and then come up here, check his king, and take the pawn. So let's push. Now he did move. Okay. Well, let's go here then. Finally get an active rook. I may have to give up my e-pawn, but you know, getting this outside pass pawn is worth something too. So he's going for the outside pass pawn as well. Let's defend the d pawn. Let's take here. He advances the pawn. Well, in any case, I'm going to get my rook behind his pawn. He goes there. Yeah, that's pretty clever. So, let's check. And take here, defending that pawn. So I think I've come out of this pretty good. Yeah, now I can go here. Offering a trade of pawns. He can check. I go here. He just trades pawns. Okay. So maybe he's a little worried about losing here because this seems to be pretty good for me. He's going to go after this pawn. That's true. Okay, what's the best way to do this? If I just push, if I bring my rook forward, he takes, and I push, and he brings his rook here, I can push again. Yeah, I think if I start with this move, push, I want to get that situation where I can check his king. It doesn't help, huh? Yeah, his king was there just in time. Let's see, well, I have one more check. Or is it the king takes? He can attack this pawn. He can defend. Okay, how about the king and pawn endgame? His pawns are more advanced than mine, but my king will be in a better position. Probably a draw. But yeah, I don't see any better at this point. If his king was one step further away, that would have been good. I might be able to get the opposition. Let's see where he goes. Yeah, this is a diagonal opposition. And then I can go here. Yeah, sometimes endgames are decided by the better king position. So then I go here. He has to defend. Yeah, I think this is a win at this point because I go here. And I go here, and he can only defend from this square, and then I go forward, and he has to give it up at that point. And I've got 2 pawns against his king. So what do you know? I pulled out a win here. He's looking a little tricky at certain points. Yeah, his king is too far away to stop my pawns. If he's trying to run around and take one of my pawns, that's not going to work. So, yep, he resigned. Okay, good game. I will upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.